It's kind of crazy to think about, but AI can basically like see, hear, and read all at the same time now.
Yeah. Wow.
We're talking tools that can handle text, images, audio, even video all together. It's like giving a single digital brain a whole bunch of senses.
Hmm.
So ready to explore how these new super versatile AI tools can actually like simplify your day and help you learn way faster.
Absolutely.
If you're up for it, stick with us. And hey, hitting that subscribe button really helps us bring you more of these deep dives into cutting edge tech. So today we're not just like speculating about some far-off AI future.
Oh, no, not at all.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to really get a handle on how to use the latest AI models, things like GPT-4o, Gemini 1.5 Pro, and Claude 3.
Right.
And we're talking practical ways, stuff you can do right now. We're going to look at how to make everyday tasks easier, how to be more efficient at work, how to unlock creative avenues, and yeah, how to supercharge your learning.
Sounds good to me.
We'll cut through all the jargon and focus on what you can do with these tools today. So think of these AI models like a team of super specialized experts.
Okay. I like that.
All in one digital package. Some are amazing writers, others are visual wizards, and some are incredible at sifting through tons of information.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
We're going to break down specific areas where you might use AI, and we'll highlight which expert on this team really shines in each area.
Perfect.
We'll give you real-world examples, some insider tips on how to get the best results. And to keep things clear and make sure this deep dive is worth your time, we'll use some analogies along the way.
Great.
So first up, let's jump into how AI can be helpful in your daily routine, especially when you're trying to find information.
Right, yeah.
This is where things like conversational AI and smart search tools come in. The key players we'll be focusing on here are Perplexity, the free versions of ChatGPT running on GPT-4o, and Google's Gemini.
Sounds good.
So let's start with Perplexity. What makes it different when you're just trying to get answers to, everyday questions?
Well, what's really interesting about Perplexity is that it doesn't just give you an answer. It actually shows its work. Every answer comes with links right back to the original sources.
Oh, interesting.
So, if you just want a quick fact, but you also want to see where that fact came from, maybe even read more, Perplexity gives you that power. It's a really transparent way to get AI-powered answers.
I like that.
Yeah, and it builds trust, lets you dig deeper if you want to. It's not just a black box.
Yeah, you're not just taking the AI's word for it.
Exactly.
That's great. Now, what about the free version of ChatGPT? With the new GPT-4o, what can we do with that on a daily basis?
Oh, that's become incredibly useful for so many things.
Yeah.
Need to put together a quick meal plan for the week? Ask it.
Easy.
Looking for a simple recipe using what's already in your pantry?
Mm-hmm.
It can do that too. But here's where it gets really interesting. GPT-4o is multimodal.
Multimodal.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can understand and work with different kinds of data all at the same time.
Yeah.
So text, images, audio.
Wow.
Like you can snap a picture of what's in your fridge, right, and ask it, what can I make for dinner? Or take a picture of a flower on your walk and ask what kind it is.
Cool.
How to care for it, So it's really handy for those quick visual questions.
Yeah, that visual thing, that's a game changer.
It is.
What about basic Gemini? Where does that fit in for just everyday information needs?
So Basic Gemini, which is also generally free to use, is a good option for finding general info.
Okay.
It's pretty good at answering a wide range of questions and giving you concise summaries. You might find it useful for quick lookups, getting definitions, or just exploring general knowledge.
So it's like a reliable all-rounder.
Yeah, exactly. Think of it that way.
Okay, so we have all these great tools, but how do we actually get them to give us the best answers? Any, pro tips for asking really clear and effective questions?
Yeah, absolutely. The more specific you are in your prompts, the better.
Yeah.
Instead of a vague question like, tell me about climate change, try something more targeted. Like, what are the main factors contributing to melting glaciers?
Right, be precise.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Also, break down complex requests into smaller, focused questions. And be clear about how you want the information presented. Do you need a bulleted list? A paragraph? A table?
Makes sense. More details, better results.
That's it.
Now, with all this information power, we also got to be a bit careful, right?
Oh, yeah.
What about when AI gets things wrong, those hallucinations?
That's a super important point. These AI models are amazing, but they're not perfect.
Right.
They can sometimes make stuff up, and that's what we call hallucinations. So you always have to double-check any critical information, no matter how confident the AI sounds. Don't take it as the absolute truth.
Got it. So always verify.
Especially for big decisions.
Okay, let's switch gears now. Let's talk about how AI can boost our productivity, make work life a bit easier. This is where those really advanced large language models, those LLMs, and their ability to handle different kinds of data come in, right?
Totally. This category really shows the power of those LLMs and how they can work with not just text, but also things like audio, images, even video.
And the big players here.
We're looking at the more advanced versions of Claude 3, Sonnet, and Opus, Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro, and the full power of GPT-4o.
Okay, let's dive into these powerhouses. How can we use Claude 3 in a work setting to get stuff done more efficiently?
So Claude 3 has different versions, and Sonnet and Opus are great for productivity. Think of Sonnet as your everyday professional writer.
Okay.
It's got a good balance of speed and quality. It's excellent for summarizing long meeting notes, getting those key action points or drafting reports. Now, if you need top-notch writing and a really deep understanding of complex topics, Opus is the one.
So Opus is like the premium version.
Yeah, it's paid, but think of it as your expert consultant. You bring it in for those high-stakes things.
Makes sense. And what about Gemini 1.5 Pro? We've heard about its huge context window. How can we use that at work?
What's amazing about Gemini 1.5 Pro, and it's currently in preview or paid tiers, is its massive context window.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine feeding it transcripts of an entire TV show season. Then you can ask it detailed questions about the characters or the plot.
Wow.
That's the scale we're talking about. For work, it means it can handle incredibly long documents. Hundreds of thousands of words, meaning transcripts, even code bases.
So if you need to analyze a massive report.
Exactly. Find hidden connections across a bunch of files or understand, the logic of a huge chunk of code.
Gemini's the one.
It can keep all that information in its memory at once.
That sounds incredibly powerful.
It is.
Now, how about GPT-4? How can we use its full potential for work?
GPT-4o, even in its paid version within ChatGPT, is super versatile and fast. Great for a lot of work tasks. Drafting professional emails, brainstorming ideas for a data analysis project, general brainstorming, really. It's quick and has broad knowledge.
So it's like a rapid-fire idea generator.
Yeah, plus it's multimodal. So you could even use it to get insights from images or videos.
Okay, so we have all these different models, each with its own strengths. Do we need to, change how we phrase our prompts for each one?
Yeah, to an extent.
Okay.
While being clear and specific applies to all of them, you might tweak your approach based on the model's strength.
Okay, I'm following.
For Claude 3 Opus, since it's so good with nuanced writing, you might give it more details about the tone and style you want. With Gemini 1.5 Pro, when you're analyzing a long document, you might need to guide its focus within the text.
Tell it where to look specifically.
Exactly. And with GPT-4o, you can use it for more rapid brainstorming, and you can combine text and images in your prompts.
This is all really helpful, but we can't forget about the potential downsides, right? Especially with sensitive work info.
Right. When using AI for work, data privacy and your company's policies are super important.
Of course.
Be careful about what info you put into these tools, especially the free ones. That data might be used to train the models. Always double-check your company's guidelines on using AI tools.
Right. Make sure you're not breaking any rules.
Exactly. For sensitive stuff, paid versions that offer better data privacy might be worth it.
Okay, so peace of mind comes at a price. Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
It also brings up the question of whether it's worth paying for the more powerful models in a professional context.
Sure.
What are the trade-offs and benefits of free versus paid?
So the free tiers are awesome for getting a feel for what these models can do. And for basic tasks, they might be enough. But paid versions often give you the more powerful models like Claude 3 Opus or Gemini 1.5 Pro.
Right.
You get higher usage limits, faster speeds, and potentially better data privacy features.
So if you're a heavy user or you have specific needs,
like handling huge documents or needing really sophisticated writing, the paid versions can save you time and give you better quality. It's about weighing the cost against the benefits.
Makes sense. All right, let's move to a more creative area now.
Okay.
Using AI for, creativity and content creation.
Oh, yeah.
This sounds like a super exciting area with things like generative AI and these multimodal models.
It really is. This is where AI goes beyond just understanding information to actually creating new content. We're talking generative AI, which can produce text, images, audio, and more.
Cool.
And like we've talked about, having image generation built into tools like GPT-4o is a big deal,
It is.
alongside those dedicated platforms that have been around for a while.
So for someone who wants to, brainstorm ideas or just get a creative spark, how can they use these AI models?
Well, for brainstorming, whether it's blog post ideas, dialogue for a story, or even a marketing campaign, tools like GPT-4o, Claude 3, and Gemini can be really helpful. You give them a starting prompt and they can generate a whole bunch of suggestions.
It's like having a brainstorming buddy.
Exactly.
Awesome. And we mentioned GPT-4o can create images right in ChatGPT. How does that work?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. If you're using GPT-4o in ChatGPT, you describe the image you want and it generates it.
Just like that.
It's great for visualizing concepts, making social media posts, or even just seeing an idea come to life visually.
Very cool. How does that compare to using those dedicated image platforms like Midjourney or Daily 3?
So while GPT-4o is great for quick visuals, those dedicated platforms usually give you much more control
Okay, more control.
over styles, details, the overall look. They have more settings you can adjust.
I see.
It's like the difference between using your phone's camera on auto versus a professional camera with manual controls.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for artistic stuff or if we have specific needs,
Those dedicated platforms are still the way to go.
any tips for getting better results when prompting AI to create images?
Yeah, for sure. The more detail you give, the better. Be specific about the art style you want.
Okay.
Do you want photorealism, impressionism, a cartoon style?
Got it.
Mention the key elements, the lighting, the mood, even the aspect ratio, if that's important.
So the more specific, the better.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to play around with the wording.
Okay, let's move on to AI for learning and developing new skills.
Okay, yeah,
This is something I know a lot of our listeners are really interested in.
definitely. Think of these LLMs as potential personalized tutors, able to explain complicated stuff in a way that makes sense to you. And AI-powered search, like Perplexity, is really important here too.
So if someone wants to learn a whole new subject, where do they start with these AI tools?
I'd say a great starting point is Perplexity.
Perplexity. Okay.
It gives you those links to the sources so you can get a quick overview and then dive deeper by clicking through to the original information.
So you can verify what you're learning.
Exactly. It's a really efficient way to start.
And once we have some basic info, how can we use the LLMs themselves, like GPT-4o, Claude 3, or Gemini, to understand things better?
Well, this is where they shine. You can ask them to explain complex concepts, simply.
Right.
A good prompt is, explain this like I'm a beginner, or even explain this like I'm 12 years old.
Love that. Explain it like I'm 12.
Yeah, it forces them to break things down. You could also ask for examples, analogies, or different perspectives on the topic.
So don't be afraid to ask for what you need.
Exactly.
You mentioned GPT-4o understands visuals.
Yeah.
How does that help with learning?
That visual understanding opens up a lot of possibilities. If you're struggling with a diagram or a graph, you could show a picture to GPT-4o.
Take a picture.
Yeah, and ask it to explain the parts or the principles behind it. Same with a complicated infographic.
Yeah.
You could ask it to break down the data.
That's really cool, especially for visual learners.
Yeah.
And we talked about Gemini 1.5 Pro's ability to handle really long content.
Right.
Could that change how we learn from things like video lectures in the future?
It could. While the applications are still developing, Gemini's ability to analyze long video lectures or documentaries is a potential game changer.
Imagine that.
You could upload a whole lecture and ask the AI to summarize the key points,
Or find specific parts.
or even answer specific questions about it. The potential is huge.
Amazing. So any final tips for using these AI tools for learning?
Yeah, always ask follow-up questions.
Okay.
Don't just take the first explanation.
Okay.
If something's unclear, ask for more details or a different explanation.
So keep asking until you get it.
Right. And always verify important information from any AI tool with other sources, especially for academic or professional stuff.
So AI is a powerful study partner, but not the only source of truth.
That's it.
This has been an incredibly insightful overview of how to use these AI tools. Now, for someone completely new to all this, which tool would you recommend starting with?
For a beginner, I'd suggest Perplexity or the free ChatGPT with GPT-4o.
Okay, why those two?
Perplexity is easy to use, and its focus on sources helps build confidence and understanding. The free ChatGPT with GPT-4o is also very accessible, and it's got a wide range of capabilities.
So it's good for experimenting.
Exactly.
And once we've got the basics, how do we choose between the big three, GPT-4o, Gemini, and Claude 3?
It depends on what you need to do. If you need top-notch writing, maybe for emails, reports, or creative stuff, Claude 3, especially Opus, is usually great.
Because of its writing quality.
Right. If speed is key, or you need those multimodal features, GPT-4o is a strong choice. And for working with massive amounts of text, Gemini 1.5 Pro is amazing.
But it's less accessible.
It is, yeah, and often requires a paid subscription.
Okay, so it's a trade-off.
It is.
And what about the paid versions in general? Are they worth it?
If you use these tools a lot, or you need the most advanced features, the paid versions can be worth it. You get higher limits, faster speeds, and sometimes features that aren't available for free. It's a matter of weighing the cost against the gains.
This whole AI world is changing so fast.
It really is. What's cutting edge today might be standard tomorrow.
So we have to stay curious.
Yeah, keep learning and be open to trying new things.
So what's the biggest takeaway from our AI deep dive today?
The key thing is, you now understand these powerful AI tools better. GPT-4o, Gemini 1.5 Pro, Claude 3, and Perplexity.
And how to choose the right one.
Exactly. Whether it's for quick answers, productivity, creativity, or learning.
And now it's your turn, listeners. We encourage you to try out one of these tools or tasks we discussed.
See what they can do.
Experience the power of these AI models for yourself.
And please share your experiences, any questions you have, in the comments below.
This is a journey we're all on together, and we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.